Hello and welcome. We know people like to see what cabins are like on board ships, so we're doing a small film on our cabin on Ventura, which is R748. Just to give you some idea of where we are. This is right at the back of the ship. There is the corridor up and down. So if you're thinking of this cabin, it's a long trek. But what you do get is access to the sun deck and the pool. There's a cabin next to us. There is a working hatchway next to us. But other than that, we are at the furthest point on the ship, stern-wise, that you can get. Going into the cabin, it's standard P&O, which if you've ever travelled on any P&O ship, certainly Ventura and Azura, you will know what style they're like. You have your clothing and dressing area, cabinet with safe, bathroom, very standard, all the amenities that you should need. But mostly this is about, would you enjoy having this cabin? Going into the bedroom and living accommodation area, once again standard fare. What you have got is a window which lets you look out into the world and see where you've been. Is this cabin what you would look for? Well, there are various things to take into consideration. Firstly, that wall there, behind there is the service shaft for staff that we saw from the beginning, and this side is the cupboard. Now, bearing in mind we're at the very back of the ship, I will try and give you some idea of the amount of movement that you get, because you're right at the very back of the ship. If you suffer from motion sickness of any sort, this cabin, you will notice it very much. So I wouldn't advise it for people who suffer like that. You can possibly see the horizon going up and down. Some of that is me, but a lot of it is the ship itself. And it is very noticeable in this cabin. Also, because you're at the end of everything, if you're aware of the toilet system that operates on most passenger ships, you are at the end of the line. If there are any blockages or any problems, you will suffer from these. Thankfully, it hasn't been too bad on this trip, but it's also something to take into account. One of the benefits is, because you're right at the end of the corridor, there is no through traffic at all. In fact, we've seen no staff go through that door into the staff area. The only person that comes past this door is your own cabin steward. So in terms of passenger movements, it is very, very quiet up here. Unfortunately, you may be able to pick up on the camera sound the constant humming. That is not ventilation noise, that is actual propulsion noise from the back of the ship. It ceases when you're in port, but it's something to bear in mind. So if you're a light sleeper, not ideal. If you're of restricted hearing, it may not worry you one little bit. So, summing this up, These cabins right at the stern are only available on Ventura. On Azura they do not exist. They have been converted into balcony cabins. But if you want an outside cabin and you don't mind a little bit of movement and noise from the transmission system, then this may be the cabin for you. Thanks for watching.